So if you're sawing and you're starting to get head drop, as in if you start sawing at 10 inches and by the time you get to the end, you're at 9 7/8 or 9 15/16 or 9 3/4, you may be able to adjust a valve, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and solve your issues. So I would set my mill for my final cuts, and I started noticing that I had droop in the head. But when I would come in the mornings, if I set my mill head at 10, it was still at 10. So I didn't think that there was any issues with the cylinder or anything like that. So I called Dennis and him at Woodmizer and was talking to him. And he said when you buy these mills new, they've got a valve in the manifold, which I'm going to show you. This is a Super 70, and this is only on the Super 70. This is not going to apply to an electric 70 or a regular 70. A Super 70 is a totally different, fully hydraulic run mill. There's no electric motors on it running the head up and down or anything like that. And you can always tell by the side of the motor, and you'll have no electric motor. Like on the regular 70s, you've got an electric motor down here instead of hydraulic pumps and motors to run it. So what I'm going to show you is on, man, that helicopter's loud. On this mill, you've got these covers that you got to take off. I've already taken the top ones off to show you this. Let me blow this off so you can see this. So if you look here, this is a hydraulic manifold, and it has a ton of your valves and stuff in it. But if you look right below this top hydraulic line, which goes through here, you've got two little valves in there. One is right here, and one is down here. The top left one, the way it was explained to me, and it does work because that's what I had to do to mine. Basically, that valve, which goes in here, is a spring-loaded valve that has tension on it. And when they build these mills new, they basically they set the head at a certain spot and turn that valve until it stops dropping on its own. So that valve restricts the fluid, the hydraulic fluid, to a certain point, that it needs a certain amount of pressure to push that valve in or out. So if you're going down through there and you start to get head drop when you're going down through there, then you need to take the little, there's a nut on the end of it right here, and you can see this one down here. You can see the little nut right there. You loosen that nut, back it off, and then turn the hex key in the end of it. If you turn it into the valve, it's going to make the pressure, take more pressure to push that out. So basically, you would turn the little nut backwards and then turn the hex key in like a quarter of a turn or a half of a turn, tighten the lock nut back up and check it and see if you're still getting head droop. And you can kind of see those through here, maybe a little bit better, but you see that right here. It's got the little lock nut on it. You loosen that and turn the hex, which turns that in. That will eliminate your head from drooping. And if you do all that and you're still getting head droop, then you may have a cylinder bad that drives the head up and down. But if you've got a bad cylinder, you can set your mill at 10, something that's easy to remember, 10, 11, an even number overnight, and you can let it sit there. If it drops overnight, then you know that you've probably got a bad cylinder or something that's it's bleeding off through the actual O-rings or housing somehow. in there. But I wasn't getting that, so I automatically knew that it was something else. So I just turned that valve and tightened it up, and that solved my issues. Now, other than that, like I said, you could have a proportional valve or something in there, but that whole head is, you've got all the weight of this head here, and it rides up and down on that mass, so it takes a lot of pressure to hold it there. But anyway, I hope that helps some of you guys, and you're able to figure out what's wrong with yours. But I've got, this has 13,000 hours on it, and at about 7,000 hours, I swapped out this whole manifold and everything to the new style. And so you might start seeing head droop before that, because that manifold and everything has about 7,000 hours, and I just started seeing it at that point. And so you could probably get that between 5 and 8,000 hours if you're running it hard. We're running ours, as hard as you can run one. But that'll give you guys an idea of how to fix that if you're getting head droop, or at least an easy way to check that and see if that is something that could fix yours. Just in case you guys aren't clear, basically when I would put it like this and start to saw and put it into pattern mode, if I started at 8 or 7 or 6, by the time I would get to the end right here, it would drop a 32nd or an 1/8, or sometimes even more than that. And if I was going slower, it would do it worse than if I was going at a good rate or speed. So it was like that valve wasn't requiring enough pressure or enough hold back on the fluid to keep it consistently at one place. So if you're getting that, like I said, that's probably going to be that valve that I just showed you. And if you try the valve and it still doesn't work, then you might want to call Dennis Ottinger. He is extremely smart and is, at Woodmizer in Indianapolis. So if you guys are watching this from somewhere else, I would just call Woodmizer at Indianapolis and ask for Derek Ottinger. He's extremely knowledgeable on these Super 70s and probably at the forefront for America's Woodmizer team as far as figuring out weird things. And I have worked with him on multiple things like this, and he's helped a ton.